Happy Friday, everyone. I want to welcome you to this Friday's edition of Superintendent Update, and it's Friday, July 24th, 2020. We have had some kind of week. I was visiting with some of my colleagues earlier today thinking and just sharing with them, there's going to be a lot of books written about the things that we're going through right now in this state of history. I want to thank each of you for the patience that you have given us as we have tried to begin planning for the school system, and it can be very frustrating not having the best ideas or the best clue as to what's going on in, quite frankly, the very near future. But if anything else, we are going to redefine what it is to be flexible as we are moving into this next school year. Hopefully, most of you have received the emails I've been sending out recently through our automated messaging system. I do want to follow up a little bit from last week's update here as well today. I want to talk a little bit about some of the basics of what to expect for this coming school year, including when we are going to get started, and also relook at and share some of the thoughts about planning as we are moving forward. This past week, we met with teacher leadership. We met for about 4 hours. Monday morning, we have a team that we call the district leadership team. This is the team of teachers that helped us address the needs that we needed to address during the weeks of continuous learning this last spring. We brought them back together Monday morning and began what we call our operations planning. What does a day at our schools look like? What are we doing to protect the health of our young people and of our staff as we begin to come back together in face-to-face meetings? And we began some thoughts about planning for instruction in this very unique time. So it was a great morning, just an exceptional group of teachers. I know that I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. We have some great teacher leaders in our district, and we are going to lean on them heavily again as we look forward to providing a world-class education for our students. Some of the things that we're talking about with our operational leadership, what is our classroom structure like? If at all possible, can we structure the classroom to get 6-foot distancing for the classrooms? Some of them we can. Many of them we will not be able to do so. But nonetheless, we are looking at those possibilities. I guess you as parents, we need to make sure that you're very aware that at this point, until things reach a resolve with the spread of this disease, COVID-19, we will be requiring masks to be worn at school. And I know that there are some folks that feel very strongly about whether or not the masks work. But at this point, that's the information that we're going to operate from here at the school, in the school setting. Some of the other things we looked at, what's before and after school look like? What's the traffic for our kids, foot traffic for our students look like? What does passing period look like? How do we handle lunchtime? And again, all of these things are being looked at with through the lens of providing as healthy environment as we can throughout our day. We are organizing teaching teams so that perhaps groups of teachers can essentially have each other's backs a little bit, especially if one of our teachers gets sick and is not able to be in attendance in the classroom like we like to have them be. We're looking at cleaning routines. What will our expectation be in terms of providing the cleanest environment as much as possible? I met with our custodians this morning in the district and just talked with them how available are the materials that we need to have to do a good job, and just a really good discussion there. We have great people serving us in that capacity as well. And obviously you bring a group of teachers together, it doesn't take much time at all before we're talking about how do we best provide teaching and learning for our students. We want to be able to involve our remote learners during the face-to-face classroom instruction. How do we do that? And essentially, teachers are being asked to be two places at once, and so we're looking at how that's possibly going to happen. And I'll talk more about that when we talk some more about our enrollment procedures as well. How do we continue to provide a first-rate education if we have to reduce access to our building? Perhaps you've seen in other places a hybrid model. What if we have to essentially go to 50% capacity in our building? What does that look like? What is the plan for that happening? We believe that we need to take some additional time this summer and have a plan in place to do just that if that's what's needed. This past Wednesday morning, Governor Kelly, her order to not start school until September 9th was not approved by the State Board of Education. So again, Governor Kelly's order from last week that we would not start school until September 9th was subject to state school board approval, and it did not pass. It went 5-5, so there was not a majority to make that happen. And predominantly, the biggest reason that I heard as I listened to those state school board members was they felt like it really needed to go back to local control. There are counties in Kansas that still have not had a positive case of COVID-19. And yet there are other counties, our bigger counties in the state have had just a tremendous number of cases, positive cases. So in the state school board's vote, it's going back to local control, and I guess from my thinking that there's a lot of sense in that, and so that's what we've done. So the 5 superintendents from Dickinson County, there are 5 school systems in Dickinson County. The superintendents for each of those districts, obviously Abilene included, met with the Dickinson County Health Department yesterday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we just sat down and we talked about the challenges of preventing COVID-19. How do we prevent that disease to the best of our abilities and still provide an educational setting for our young people in each one of our school systems? Obviously, Solomon looks a little different than Abilene. And Hope White City looks a little different than Harrington. And so, but yet there are things that each one of us have to do that are fairly common. And we visited with the folks there at the County Health Department, listened to what their concerns are as well. And we decided after visiting for about an hour and a half, that we will start school collectively here in Dickinson County. We will start school on Wednesday, August 26th. Now, from Abilene's perspective, we have done some things in the past with some orientation instruction. I anticipate that will still be a piece of what will go on for our district. That's an important part of making sure kids get started on the right foot. So we cannot have students in the building for instructional purposes until August 26th. So we will probably, I don't know for sure. I'm going to be getting with our teachers and our admin team again. I would guess that we'll probably use the August 26th time to do some orientation work with our new students, especially at the middle school and the high school, and then probably not start full out instructional opportunities until Thursday, August 27th, 28th. Those details are yet to be determined. In the meantime, so the teachers will be doing some planning as well. We will have our state or our local school board meeting. We have scheduled a special meeting for this coming Monday evening, and that is at 7 o'clock. And we know that as I have visited with school board members, I know that they have been fielding a lot of questions and concerns from patrons as representation for our district, and that's great. We also obviously have been doing some planning administratively, and it is time for the school board and the administrative team to sit down and almost like have a work session related to the start of this school year. It's somewhat of a unique opportunity for us to take advantage of here, but we're living in very unique times. So we are going to be meeting with our local school board 7 o'clock this coming Monday, and we're going to work through some of our operational ideas and make sure that some of the things the school board members have heard, we're hearing in the trenches and vice versa. So I look forward to that. I think it'll be a very good work session for the leadership here in our district. Many folks are curious about activities. Keisha is collecting information about when school is going to start across the state. I filled out a little survey. It's like a 3-question survey yesterday evening, just simply letting the leadership there at Kansas High School Association's Activity Association, let them know when we are starting school. They are collecting that information for all sizes of districts, and I am assuming they will use that information to perhaps alter the start of fall activities. We don't know for sure. That's their call, and we'll let you know when we know more on that. I did send out an email to our staff earlier today, just kind of letting them know what to expect here in the coming weeks. And I'm assuming several staff members may take a look at this video, and so the next minute or two is for you all. If you're a staff member, a teacher, certified staff member, and many of our classified staff members as well, if you were scheduled to come in at the start of August because of a start for August 13th, you're still going to come in on those days. We need to have you there. You'll be a part of helping us plan for a healthy start for the school year. And so that's kind of the short side of it, the short description of what's going on. Teachers, you have a lot of work to do, and we understand that. And at this point, we're now able to provide you an unprecedented amount of time to do some planning that, quite frankly, is different than anything we've ever done before in our professional lives. So we'll have that time now. Many of our staff members are scheduled to start on August 3rd. You are still supposed to start on August 3rd and move forward from there. So there's lots of things that are going to get to work on that. Our classified, 9-month classified workers, if our bus drivers, I'm going to have you touch base with Heather, give her a call and kind of see what her expectation is. But it's my thinking is we probably will not have anything for you to do until we get closer to the week that school starts there in August, and we'll just kind of go from there. Our office people, we're going to need to have you. But I know that there are a lot of parents calling and asking questions. The online enrollment procedure is a little different than some of the things that we've done in the past, and so we'll have you in place to help answer that question. Those questions should people call the individual school buildings. If you do have questions as a staff member, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. I will tell everyone here with this message, if you send me an email, please be patient in terms of me getting back to you. I am getting more emails every day than I've ever gotten in my life, and I've always felt like I've gotten more than enough. But so it does take me a while to get through those emails, and sometimes a couple days before it happens. If you need some information in a very timely fashion, the best thing to do would be to pick up the phone and give me a call, and we will go from there. So at this point, I would like to kind of revisit our enrollment world. So let me get some things going here. Let's see. All right, I'm going to share a screen, and it's the enrollment website, or the page on our website that talks about enrolling. And I've gone ahead and blown it up, so you should be seeing this now. Just kind of briefly want to walk through this a little bit. I have fielded several phone calls and emails asking questions about this. So as we walk through this a little bit, hopefully we'll be able to clarify some people's thinkings. We would like to have as many people as possible go ahead and enroll online. We believe that we can serve you better that way, and it also helps us plan a little bit better as well. If the online enrollment procedures is overwhelming, or you're not comfortable doing that, we understand that completely. We do have the face-to-face enrollment will happen on August 4th, and that will be at the high school, and we'll help you kind of get through those things. But again, we do have some options with enrolling this year, and most of these are all about dealing with the disease of coronavirus. Option 1, face-to-face instruction. People, we're going to need to have you have masks, and if you don't have one already, we need to get some in your hands. I would have more than one per kiddo. Keep them clean that way and be ready to go. We, here in the school system, we have ordered some masks as well. So we will provide masks if that's something that you're not able to get a hold of for some reason, or if they're forgotten here at the start of the school year. Social distancing, as much as we can make happen, we are going to work toward making that happen. But this is essentially option 1, is coming back to school, getting back in the brick and mortar buildings, and understanding that we cannot ignore the health issues of COVID-19. We will be doing everything we can to make sure that kids and students and staff are safe throughout the day. The option 2 that we see here next has caused some questions for some folks, and I just want to kind of touch base on it. Option 2 is remote learning. Last year, when we shut down the school year, it was called continuous learning. And there were a lot of aspects about continuous learning that were more along the lines of maintaining what had been learned and finishing the school year with that mindset. With the beginning of a school year, we really cannot start with that same mindset. We have to start with a level of rigor that gets kids started in the right direction right away. So, but if there are some health issues going on within a family, or if a family is uncomfortable placing kiddos back into the brick and mortar setting, even with the masks and the like that are going on there, we understand that completely, and we want to honor that and go from there. But the remote learning is saying, hey, I want my kiddo to have the educational experiences that we can have as much as possible if we were face to face, but we're going to join the class via an internet connection. Now, more than likely, that will be through Zoom, but I'm not going to tell you that it has to be through Zoom. It's going to be through a process that the teacher is comfortable with, some kind of mainstreaming connection. But we do want that participation to be in live, real time, so that if a teacher would feel the need to ask one of our remote learners a question, that question could be asked, and that young person could participate in any discussion that goes on in class, just like they would as if they were in the class in a face-to-face setting. The note to this has caused a little angst among some of our parents, and I can see where that might happen. But it's our assumption that if a family feels that it's best for their kiddo to be involved with our school system via a remote learning setting, that it would be consistent in that that young person perhaps would not be involved in football or cross country or one of the athletic programs. The athletic programs are set up this year. We're not going to have the masks and the social distancing during a football practice or during a volleyball practice like we can during the school settings, the classroom settings. So that it's with that idea that we wrote this note. Now, that said, we do have some activities that are somewhat different, and one of the biggest differences is people see the band program as an activity, or the choir program, and they want to maintain as the fewest number possible of contacts throughout their school day. I've had some families call me like this, but they still would like to have their kiddo involved in choir and in band. I believe we're going to try to do what we can to make that happen. The best way to get those questions answered with some degree of clarity would be to reach out to the building administrator where your student is at, and just visit with them somewhat informally and see how things can best be done. So I want to invite you to do that. But the thing about remote learning that we anticipate here is, in my mind, and I believe in the administrators' minds as we move forward, the remote learning is a little bit fluid. If a young person's participating at the start of the year through remote learning, and the COVID-19 dynamics change for the best, and that family is now more comfortable having the young person attend in the brick and mortar setting, come on back. If things change for the worse, we can have more students jump into the remote learning format. So as you enroll, this just helps us get started. It's not necessarily at all a commitment for the year. So I hope that kind of clarifies what remote learning is all about. It is going to have the same level of rigor as being in the classroom face-to-face. Option 3 is our Abilene virtual school. We have had this in place for a number of years, and that is high school students only. I was asked by a teacher, an elementary teacher, earlier this week, when should we have a virtual school available for younger students? And the answer to that is probably more sooner than later. At this point, we do not have that, and the virtual school programming is not one that we can just initiate today and have in place next week. That's a whole process of communication with the Kansas State Department of Education that is put in place usually around January and February for the upcoming year. So at this point, the virtual school is there. It's described, and that is available to students for in the 9 through 12th grade only. We would invite you to reach out to Mr. Brian Roth and see if you have questions, and he can answer those again with a great deal of clarity. So those are our 3 enrollment possibilities, and we have had at this point we've had about 150 young people enroll, and we would like to see that continue to grow throughout the coming days. The note that we have here, we do have in-person enrollment, and that will take place on Tuesday, August 4th, and that will be from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. here in Abilene High School. And that's something that we have typically done, so that's not a new thing for many of you who have been around for a while. That's what we've always done. So if that's where you're most comfortable enrolling your students, by all means, come on up and on Tuesday, August 4th, and get your young person enrolled. Again, make sure you bring a mask as you come to do that. Okay, we'll get kind of back to my center of my world here. begin to wrap some things up. Again, I want to thank you for your interest in public education and your support of public education here in Abilene. Please do not hesitate to reach out and ask questions as they come to your mind. All of our administrative team is very knowledgeable about where we're headed, and we look forward to continuing to work toward a very solid plan, and we should have that ready for you soon. As we continue to work on providing an explanation or a description of what each day will look like as we attend schools here in Abilene. You have a great weekend. It's always a joy to provide you with the information that you need to have, and together we're going to continue to be a top drawer school system, and if not the best school system here in the state of Kansas. So you have a great weekend and take care.